Welcome to Monkey Talk, brought to you by
The Bald Monkeys Wrestling Podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are festive with you today. The Bald Monkeys are back with you. Christopher's here. I'm checking my mic. It's good. I'm checking the captain's mic.
I'm good, I guess, I think, I hope.
He's good. The captain's good. And we have a very special guest from Action Wrestling. Straight from a festive-looking home there is the Ace God himself, Arik Royal. My friend, thank you for joining us tonight.
Yes, yes, or should I say, yay, yay. The pleasure is all yours, and it's mine as well. Glad to be here. It is the most wonderful time of the year, as we all know, especially since we know the next time you see the Ace God, he's going to be challenging for the Action Heavyweight Championship. For the first time ever, mind you.
Mm-hmm.
The first time, and it's long overdue, my friend. Long overdue. You have been with Action Wrestling from the beginning, and finally, you get to challenge for the coveted Action Championship, which has been in the hands of AC Mack since we've seen it appear.
This is very true. AC Mack has been a dominant champion. And you know what? I'm not even going to lie to you. Ace God's going to keep it straight up with you. He really admires AC Mack because AC Mack is the type of champion that the Ace God would be like, because he does what it takes to keep that title around his waist and to keep them checks, that extra pay, lining his pocket. So Arik, the Ace God, Arik Royal, gives AC Mack all the credit. He commends him so much. But now I think it's time that Action Wrestling and those fans of Tyrone, Georgia, it's time for them to see a new champion. And that man is the Ace God.
Well, I couldn't have put it better myself. I think we need to get a little bit away from the match for a little while, though.
Just a
because
little bit.
I don't want it to get too tense in here.
That's fine. That's fine.
I don't want it to get too tense.
It's holiday time. Yes, let's talk about festive and just reflecting on life and everything. Let's do that, Christopher. You're on the right track.
There we go. Thank you. I appreciate it. So let's start our interview where we start all of our interviews with our guests from the beginning. What was a young Ace God like?
Oh, well, the young Ace God, he's a pretty active kid. Ace God he grew up, with his parents. They always taught him, you are destined for great things. So go out there and be great at whatever it is you want to do. And, sometimes, there's one point Ace God wanted to be a football player. There's one point Ace God wanted to be a policeman. There's one point Ace God wanted to be a basketball player. But then Ace God found his true calling when he turned on the TV and he saw WWF wrestling. And he knew right then and there his calling was to be a professional wrestler.
So you turned it on, and it's WWF. So we've
Yes.
gotten it. Okay, we've opened up the book of Ace God to find out the beginnings.
Chapter
and in the
1.
beginnings of chapter 1 of Ace God
That's right.
is
the
he
Ace God
finds-
Chronicles.
He finds WWF. Who is on that TV? Who is in that, I would hope, red, white, and blue ring of WWF?
Yes, red, white, and blue ring. Yes, that's what Ace God grew up on. Now, one of the first people that the Ace God saw was, you see me, you see him, I got all these bright colors on. First person Ace God saw on that TV was the Macho Man Randy Savage.
Ooh, yeah.
Dig it? And then he saw the man with the face paint, the Ultimate Warrior, running up and down the ring and running, shaking the ropes. And as a child, you can't not take that energy from your house and start running around the house. It had me run around the house, and then ACEGAWD's parents are telling me to calm his little butt down. So they give, so Ultimate Warrior was another. But as he got older and ACEGAWD started to understand wrestling, the man that stood out for him in the WWF was none other than the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be, and that's Bret the Hitman Hart.
So I got to ask, because Christopher is a big HBK fan from the beginning. Shawn Michaels, Rockers.
Okay.
Even when Marty Jannetty holding him back, I was still a big HBK fan. Would you say you were not an HBK fan? Because it usually happens that people go, I'm either Bret the Hitman Hart or I'm HBK. I'm not both.
Well, as a child, you grow up and see the Iron Man match was in Anaheim, California, which was just in ACEGAWD's backyard, okay? ACEGAWD grew up in the West Coast. WrestleMania 12 was right in his backyard right there. And for me growing up to be a Bret Hart fan, ACEGAWD didn't really have no problem with Shawn Michaels at that time, But then as 1997 rolled around and then you started hearing about the animosity and all that, I was, I was on Team Bret, and I'm gonna say I was on Team Bret in that whole situation.
Okay.
Shawn Michaels as a performer, one of the greatest, arguably the greatest. But I was siding with my boy Bret. I had to side with Bret,
Okay, that's fair. I'll allow it. I'll allow it.
I was still sitting there watching Shawn Michaels have these matches in '96, so it didn't matter. I was still out here watching him have these matches with Vader and the Bulldog and Owen and tagging with Ahmed Johnson to take on the Smoking Guns, Sid. So I watched it all, man. I was a wrestling fan. I'm a wrestling fan at heart, first and foremost. But yes, I was definitely on Team Bret.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
You've made Christopher a little upset, I feel.
I'm a little uneasy about it, but we're gonna continue anyway.
It's okay, man. It happens. Hey, we can agree to disagree on things, but we can agree to disagree on things amicably. There's no animosity or ill will. They moved on. Why don't we move on?
True. And I wouldn't want to get on the wrong side of the ACEGAWD, so I'm good. Yeah, we're good.
People have, and they
Kobe.
fail. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So you get into wrestling, you fall in love with WWF, you find that you're passionate about it, but how do you go, I'm going to be a wrestler? I'm going to do it.
Like I said, when you have a support system like the ACEGAWD has, and they tell you that you can achieve anything that you want to achieve, when it finally hits you and you're like, you know what, I can do this. I've always wanted to do this. Let me go ahead and try it. I would say it was about 2006-ish. ACEGAWD had just made a life journey to North Carolina, and he went to a pay-per-view, Vengeance 2006, and he had just moved out here and went to that, and somebody had told him we're waiting in line to go inside, and somebody had told him that there was a wrestling school in the same town that he was staying in. And so ACEGAWD got home that night from the pay-per-view and emailed these people. CWF Mid-Atlantic is who he emailed, and got a message back. Couldn't find the place. But then a couple years went by, tried it again. This time ACEGAWD drove by the place to make sure he knew where it was at. And the rest was history after that. And here we are.
So now you're there, You finally found the place.
Found the place.
Driving around.
Driving around.
Yep.
Driving around. Found the
See,
place.
this is all during a time where right before we had GPS on our phone. We had to do MapQuest.
Oh,
so
like getting the
yeah,
directions
the MapQuest
out as you're
era.
driving.
So yeah, so we all remember how that went back in those days. So
I'm
now
still lost.
you just plug it into your phone, you're good to go. But yeah,
So much easier now. Well,
yes.
you're there. So you said it was one close to you.
Yes.
When you actually got there, what was the experience like? Starting, just getting in the ring, and like, of course, like I always want to know, what was that first bump that you took? What was it like?
Well, it's funny because ACEGAWD always did his research. Like, you always hear about, you go to training school, they're gonna beat the crap out of you, they're gonna stretch you and do all this, that, and the other. So, I was already mentally prepared to handle whatever they were willing to put on top of me. And I guess they saw that. And they saw that, okay, this kid is really dedicated. He really wants to do this. He has a good attitude. Let's just see how far we can push him. And that first bump, it was kind of nerve-wracking. I'm not gonna lie to you, because nobody's used to falling down like that, and especially doing it constantly, especially like your first 3 months in, because that's all you're really learning how to do. But, once you get it out, you got to make sure that, that you do what they tell you. You tuck your head and you're not hitting the back of your head on the mat and bringing, coming up all dizzy. So that has happened a couple times, first starting out. And you learn from it and you don't do it anymore. And then you learn how to bump right. So, I remember sitting down and talking to my trainer at the time, and he was, the one thing I got to give them credit for is that they were always upfront and honest with me. They were like, they told me right off the gate, like, don't expect to make a whole lot of money out of this business, if not make any money out of this business. If it's something that you're looking to do, then yes, you can do it. But, this business will definitely take more than it gives. And they laid it flat out. They were honest with me, and I think that's what really made me gravitate towards them. And and not only that, but I felt like I've got some of the best training that around. At the time, I've trained with a lot of good guys. A lot of talented guys, and to help push the ACEGAWD to where he's at today. So. I like reminiscing on the training days and the people that I trained with. It was definitely an experience that I won't ever take for granted, and I would never take back at all.
Nice. Is there a trainer that kind of stands out in your mind? If you want to drop names, that kind of, is the one that you had the best connection with, you learned the most from?
Well, my trainer, his name was Jeff Rudd. He went by the Gemini Kid, Coach Gemini. That's who trained me, had a hand in training me. Also, Roy Wilkins. He had a hand in when I first started there training me. I came up with guys like Andrew Everett. I came up with guys like Trevor Lee, Cameron Grimes. So having those guys who are younger than me, and I have to, follow them and not necessarily follow them, but I see the potential that they have and the talent that they have. And I got to think to myself, well, I got to keep up with these guys, because I can just tell these guys are going to be something one day or do something, whether it's on TV or wrestling around the indies. But I feel like these guys will be making some money off of wrestling. So that was always my goal was always just try to keep up with them. Training with them, they always help push me, man. And that's what I always try to look for too, is when you're training with somebody, when you're at a school, when you're training, you want to be pushed to be better. You don't want to be handed anything, because then you don't appreciate it as much as to if you really grinded towards and worked hard to get what you deserve. And then once you get that and you achieve that goal, it's on you to take what you just earned and grow off of that. So a lot of times people will take what they earned and then it's like, okay, I'm cool. I ain't got to do nothing no more. I'm where I'm at. I'm comfortable. And for me, you know, there's times that you do get comfortable, but you're never really, really comfortable with where you're at. And like for myself, you know, I was never really comfortable with just, hey, I got this goal. All right, I'm cool now. Nah, there's more. There's more I can do, you know. So that was always like being around people that help you do that is just only going to make you a better person. Or a better person, a better wrestler, a better performer, and that's what I always seek out to try to do, because then it looks good when I go out there and I'm performing and I'm doing what I got to do. Then it reflects good on the ACEGAWD and where the ACEGAWD trained at and who he trained with. So it just helps keep that name in a good light.
Yeah. Now, let's talk about coming up, good things happening. Over the last, I believe it is, let me check my notes here. Over the last 4 action wrestling events,
Yes.
you are, and correct me if I'm wrong, you are 4-0, sir. You are 4-0, sir.
I am. I'm undefeated.
You have had
since the return of action wrestling. The last time before this all, you know, the whole pandemic happened and everything shut down. ACEGAWD's not going to lie to you. He took a very, very, very bad loss. He was embarrassed by all those people in Tyrone, Georgia, and Matt Sells. And the ACEGAWD really took that to heart. He really took offense to that, and he really told himself that he is going to learn from that mistake and never let anything like that happen again. And so when Matt Griffin called the ACEGAWD and messaged the ACEGAWD and said, ACEGAWD, we're starting back up. We need you. We need the ACEGAWD. And the ACEGAWD said, Matt, ACEGAWD is ready this time. And you put any challenge you want in front of him, and he will conquer that challenge. You put Sugar Dunkerton in front of him, one of the best technical wrestlers out there today, a world travel wrestler, went overseas to get better, goes everywhere to get better. He stepped in there with the ACEGAWD, and he got out wrestled. Then you put in there the one they call Manders, one of the most hard-hitting, toughest, roughest guys out there. And what did the ACEGAWD do? He beat him at his own game. He did that.
Great match.
Then they bring in this young up-and-coming guy, the Hoodfoot, Mo Atlas. He's hot. He was on a roll. He was streaking. He's getting hot all over social media. He's got all the drip. He's supposed to be the drip god. Then he stepped into the ring with the real drip god, and then he got laid out too. And then we take it to our the most recent match that the ACEGAWD had against another world traveler, a man who's actually traveled in the same circles. We've been in the same area, Anthony Henry. And for this match to happen in Tyrone, Georgia, for this to be the first time ever matchup is a travesty. But the ACEGAWD took advantage of the opportunity, and he did what he did best. He got the W. He showed you just why the ACEGAWD rules, and which leads us to December 11th.
Exactly. And if you people at home can't do math, that was 4 up and 4 down.
That's right.
In a matter of no time. And bangers only. Action Wrestling, December 11th, Tyrone, Georgia. Mr. Christopher, he will be there again. Yes, the man below the ACEGAWD, Arik Royal, you will be there. You are taking on the now reigning, I believe it's about a 2-year reign, the champ, AC Mack. We talked to AC before. Nice guy. You talked a little bit about AC earlier. I want to hear your thoughts on what it would mean to you to stand in the middle of that ring at the end of that match, holding that belt right over that gentleman.
Well, like I mentioned before, Chuck, there's no disrespect to AC Mack. He's been one hell of a champion. And you're right, it was about 2 years ago that he did win this title. And, unfortunately, the Ace God wasn't even in the tournament. But that's another story for another day. Ace God's time came, it's coming, and December 11th, the time will come for everybody to see a new heavyweight champion of Action Wrestling, and he will be the most drippiest, the most sauciest man around. He will be the name above all names. He will be the man that is worthy of all the praise. Mr. Ace Daddy Cool himself, the Ace Godzilla, Arik Royal. I've worked way too hard for this opportunity December 11th, and I'm not going to let anybody, and when I say anybody, I mean anybody, stop the Ace God from winning and retrieving something he feels like he deserves, and that's the Action Heavyweight Championship. First title shot, we're going to go 1 for 1. We're going to bet 1,000. AC Mack, great wrestler, great competitor. He's held the belt for this long because he's one of the smartest guys in the ring. But what's going to happen when he meets his match in the ring to somebody who's just as smart as him, somebody who's willing to take a shortcut just like he is?
Mm-hmm.
I want to see when all the chips are down. We talk about he's had some violent battles with Brett Eisen. He's had battles with Trey Lamar, Austin Theory. Everybody that's been put in front of him, he is mowed down. But now, AC, now you are stepping into the ring with somebody you have never stepped into the ring with before. Someone you're not used to. But the Ace God does his homework. Ace God does his studying. The Ace God will find a way to become the Action Heavyweight Champion and make history by dethroning AC Mack and the longest and the only heavyweight title reign in this company's history.
Now, Christopher, before we move on, I wanted to interject and just throw one little thing in here and get your take on it. Now, at one of the last Action event, I believe it was AC against Trey Lamar, Luther X came out and kind of seemed like he was backing AC. Are you afraid that there might be some collusion behind the scenes? And are you afraid that there might be some sort of outside interference?
Ace God he can fight through adversity. This is not an issue. Luther X, he's a new guy around Action Wrestling. He's not a new guy around wrestling, but he's a new guy around Action Wrestling. So he's the new kid in town. So what better way than to buddy up with the champion, right? I see his game, and I respect his game. But his game's not going to work against the Ace God because the Ace God knows how to play that game, bruh. Been doing it. Been around too long to not know this game. So if they want to collude, that's all well and good. The Ace God will find a way, like he always does, and prevail. I'm going to end the year way better than I ended it last year. And I will come into 2021 the champ.
Holding that belt.
So what I hear is motivation, right? You talked about how the year ended last year, and you were motivated to come back better. What else keeps you motivated? I know the Action Championship is a huge motivator, but as you go through your wrestling career, as you go through the trials and tribulations of becoming an independent wrestler and fighting for that spot, whenever it's coming down the road, how do you keep going? What drives you?
What drives the Ace God? Well, it's the easy answer is my family. That's what drives the Ace God, because if I'm able to go out here and hustle and grind and try to be the best person that I can be, and the people at home are seeing that, my people at home are watching me do that, then they'll understand the value of going after something that they're passionate about. You know, I'm blessed to have a family around me that understands my dream and my goals. And I like lately, the past year, I've learned how to make compromises and be more of a compromising person when it comes to my family and my relationships. But also, they know that, my goal and my dream is to go out here and entertain and be the best wrestler that I can be, and go out here and try to make a name for myself out here in this world of wrestling. Because and another thing I got to give my family credit for is that if I wasn't good or I wasn't talented, I'm sure they would have told me, hey, you need to go ahead and just stop. Just give it up.
This ain't for you.
Yes, this ain't for you, Chief. They would tell me to give it up. And they haven't told me that to this point. So I'm gonna keep pushing and I'm gonna keep grinding. So then I can, and you always got these circle of people around as well that doubt you and want to throw salt on your name and sully you for reasons that are unbeknownst to you. So you also want to go prove them wrong as well. So like proving people wrong has always been a big deal of mine. Like, I love doing it. I love, like, when people have egg on their face because they doubt me. Like, one of the biggest things for me is going out there and proving them wrong and showing them that, hey, whatever you think about me or however you feel about me, you can feel that way, but ain't nothing gonna stop the Ace God from what's rightfully his. So my family, doubters, haters, and then just seeing your peers be successful too. Your friends that you come up with, seeing them successful also helps push me and motivate me as well, because it's like, okay, I know they can do it. I've seen them do it. I've seen what it takes to do it. So I got to keep grinding. I got to do this too, because I feel as a performer that I bring something different to the table than what a lot of the other people do. So that's why, I'm still out here trying to grind. Still out here trying to grind and push myself and try to get out and get seen as many places as I can.
Yeah. That support system is often something that we talk about, and with a lot of different talent, and we can hear it in your voice, and we can see it in the presentation that you feel that support around you.
Oh, yeah.
And I think it helps you succeed. It actually helps you lift up yourself.
It does.
Every day to challenge yourself to be a little bit better.
It does. They love the Ace God, even though they roll their eyes every time I refer to myself in the third person, or yell out yay, yay, or talk about how great the Ace God is. But, they may roll their eyes, but they know deep down inside that it's the truth. So they can hate it or love it. The Ace God's on top. So
I'm going to try that for the next week. I'm going to just refer to myself in third person and see how it goes around the house.
I know in my house that wouldn't fly very well. It'd be like, get the hell out of here.
You got to pick and choose your spots. You can't just bust it out all the time.
Yeah.
True. Yep.
Oh, Christopher's thirsty. So you talked about family, obviously big support system. What else do you do outside of the ring? What kind of hobbies you have? I know we touched a little bit when I got to catch up with you and Tyrone about your love for basketball, but what else is the Ace God into?
Well, obviously Ace God is into video games. He loves playing some video games. Big 2K guy. I'm still playing 2K20, NBA 2K20. I have NBA 2K21. Let's not get it twisted. But I'm just still on 2K20 right now. Got other games, play a little GTA sometimes, get on there, Tony Hawk a little bit. So, I like to play some of the games. And, my girlfriend's daughter, she loves Fortnite. Oh. And the other day, I had to put her on game the other day. She didn't know Fortnite was based, the headquarters was based literally 15 minutes from where we live at. So she didn't believe me. So I had to put her on game. So yesterday we drove over there and we drove it over there to the headquarters and she got to see the Epic Games headquarters where Fortnite is at. And yeah, she was hyped ever since. So yeah. So video games, of course, sports, love watching basketball, Lakers all day. We're going to represent, re-signing everybody. LeBron signed an extension, AD, max extension. So we back up in there. We're going to try to repeat.
Could you share a little bit of the love? Because, you're a Dodger fan too, I would assume. Yeah,
winning the World Series. You know what I'm saying?
Are you going to give us anything?
28 years. So, Dodgers, Lakers, and then see my football team, Seahawks. I'm a Seahawks guy. See how ACEGAWD was born. ACEGAWD was born in the PN Dub. So my heart will always be in the Pacific Northwest. If the Sonics were a team again, ACEGAWD would have another team. He'd be a Sonics fan too. So, it's just right now, sports year this year is looking real good. I don't want to, jinx the Seahawks or anything, but I'm just glad they're doing all right now.
I do. I want to jinx the Seahawks left. I'm a Niner fan, so I'll jinx you all day.
Hey, appreciate that dub last week. We need y'all to beat the Rams. Y'all did it. We appreciate you.
You're welcome.
Just help us win the division, man. Just help us win the division.
Yeah, that's
y'all
what I
get healthy, and then next year, just we'll battle out, man. But sports and the movies. I love, I just love trying to make my family laugh and make people laugh and be joyful and things like that. So, ACEGAWD's back in the gym as well. So that's also another thing that he enjoys to do. He enjoys working out and, he's been on that training regimen lately. So he's just getting ready for December 11th and beyond, man. So, those are pretty much the hobbies that ACEGAWD likes to do. He also likes to play with his pets. He's got 2 cats and a dog. So he likes chilling with them and goofing off with them as well. But
what is the ACEGAWD's pets' names? I'm always curious how people name their pets.
Okay, so we have 2 cats. Now, one of the cats, they had the cat before I met them. It was literally a week before.
You're doing a lot of tap dancing right now.
I am. They have one of the cats' name is Jack. Okay. We have another cat whose name is Smokey.
Okay.
And then we have a puppy, and his name is Jumbo Saruta.
What?
Jumbo Saruta.
His name is Jumbo. I named him after Jumbo Saruta.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Sorry, I thought I heard something else.
You did. I said his whole name.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, his name was Jumbo.
Cool.
Yeah.
Why did you explain Jack so much? What was the worry about?
Well, because his name is Jack, and I was like, I didn't name him that. I just want to let you know, that wasn't his name when I met him. It was his name when I met him, but I was like, I didn't name him that. If after meeting Jack, I would have definitely named him something else like Dennis, because he's a little menace, like Dennis the Menace.
Oh my! I'm like, Christopher, I thought you were going a totally different way with that, and I was going to say, dude, your cat and your cats that you have first names themselves.
They do.
Pete and Frank.
My cats are Pete and Frank.
Pete and Frank. My sister's dog's name is Frank.
Good name. Good
Yeah.
name. Strong name.
Yeah.
My dog's name is Kiva.
Okay.
It's Irish. Gotta
I
get
had
down.
I had a parakeet once. The name was Shira. Are we like just doing random names at this point?
No, man. I really have a dog. You've
Well, I
met
know
the dog.
that.
You have met my dog. Anyway, let's get this thing back on track. Speaking
Off
of
the
on
rails.
track, when you're on a track, you're going somewhere, you're traveling. You might be on a train, you might be on a plane, you might be in a car. I sound like Dr. Seuss, but ACEGAWD, do you have any funny travel stories that you could drop on us that aren't too bad that you're allowed to tell?
Well, there was this one time when we came back from Chuckey, Tennessee, and it was me and my buddy Donald J. Bitdon, and then another buddy of mine, Starboy. He wrestled at one of the action shows, BK Westbrook. We're all, and my girlfriend was with us too. And now, mind you, my girlfriend is pregnant, but she decided she wanted to come and check out the sights of Chuckey, Tennessee. And so we were all like, okay. Ain't much to look at there, but all right. So, we went. She got to see it, and, she pretty much was like, yeah, this was what I expected. So on the way back, we put the GPS in to go home, and you're supposed to take us one way, but it's taking us around the mountain. So we're going around all these hills and bends and curves, and, that's making my girlfriend queasy, and so, motion sickness and everything. So then, about halfway through the mountain pass, she's like, oh, I'm hungry. I'm really craving some mac and cheese. So I'm like, all right, we'll find a place, we'll find the sheets, get you some mac and cheese.
Get sheets.
So my dumb ass walks in there, orders the mac and cheese, makes the order for the mac and cheese, and they're like, we don't have any more, we just have mac and cheese bites. And me not thinking, like, oh yeah, that's fine, she won't mind that. So then get back to the car, and I'm like, oh yeah, they didn't have any mac and cheese, they just had mac and cheese bites. She just breaks down, starts crying, and I'm just like, what did I do? I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I don't know what I did. I'm sorry. I'll buy you some mac and cheese. But that's one story. I've had many stories where I've been to. Last year I went to Massachusetts for Beyond, and it was me and another guy, and I tried to Ironman the drive. So, driving back from Beyond, I'm like, all right, I'm going to, I had a show in Massachusetts, I had the Beyond show, and then the next day I had a show in Maryland. My uncle stays in D.C., so I was just going to stop there and stay there. And then the next night after that, I had another show. So on the way to D.C., I'm driving, and buddy's like, hey, man, you all right? You good? I'm like, yeah, man, I'm good. Start, whoop. Those long drives are hard. So anyway, driving, all of a sudden, boom, boom, boom. I thought the car was gonna flip over, but we landed right back on the road. He's like, you good? And I was like, yep, I'm good. And then I just kept going. I stopped the car. I pulled out to see if anything was messed up, or luckily nothing was messed up, so everything was all good.
Oh my Lord.
Yeah, there's just a lot of times like we would. I'd also do a little thing if I'm driving long like that. And see, I didn't do it this time because it was too cold. It was in December up north, so I was like, I'm not doing this. Normally, I'll get out of the car if I'm dozing off. I'll get out and I'll do 100 squats, and then I'll get back in the car and I'll keep driving. But it was too cold to do all that, and the heat in my car was feeling good. So yeah, but I thank God that we made it here and everything is all good, but we made it. But yeah, there's a lot of different like stories. Like most for the most part, for me though, like when I'm done with the show, I try to get home as quick as possible. I don't really try to hang around too much, but yeah, I just try to get home as quickly as possible, so I ain't gotta, worry about anything else. Just get home, get to my bed,
Yes.
and sleep till 2 in the afternoon. Depends on whenever I get home from that trip, but yeah, it's there's just so many, and then like there's so many like road trips. It's like the stories just kind of they all blend together. So, but I'm pretty sure if I see Christopher next Friday, I'm like, hey man, there's a story I forgot to tell you about, then I'll let him know. But
I'll get the recorder out. Don't worry.
There you go. There's a book right there, traveling stories of action wrestling, and just have it be the coffee table book.
oh yeah,
Everybody don't have to say who it was. Just a whole bunch of stories.
there was a time. Speaking of Georgia, I remember WrestleMania was down there, and we were. I was helping with a show. It was Dragon Gate, was like a co-sponsor of the show, and I just remember I was on the highway. We were on the highway, and all of a sudden we look up, and I'm like, "Yo, is that a car on fire?" And sure enough, just car just sitting on the side of the highway, just engulfed in flames. And I'm like,
Been
how?
there.
Like how? Like oh my god! But
You just wonder. Just wonder.
Yeah, exactly.
I was driving on the New Jersey Turnpike from Pennsylvania back to Connecticut one day. I see a big plume of black smoke, and I'm like, oh, man, something's not good. Literally just one car. I think it was a new Volkswagen Beetle. One car just on the side of the road. And, I mean, this thing was toast.
Oh,
and it's like, how does that even happen?
Yeah. You just do start to wonder, like, how in the world?
Yep.
Like, what were you doing in there? Was your car just to get engulfed that way?
So let's get to the point of the conversation where we talk about some of your favorites.
Okay.
You talked about working out. People usually like to get, hyped up when they're working out. What's your favorite music to listen to when you're working out?
Well, that's a good question because the ACEGAWD is very eclectic when it comes to his musical taste. I pretty much listen to whatever I feel gets me pumped. I do listen to a lot of hip hop. Kendrick Lamar's probably one of my top 10 right now or all time. So Kendrick Lamar, Schoolboy Q, J. Cole, and then you got Sir. And then of course you got rock. So I like some of like I'm a 90s kid. I'm an Attitude Era kid. So like Korn and Limp Bizkit and Slipknot. So we throw that stuff in there. And, I'm from the West Coast. So you always got to throw the West Coast hip hop in there as well with some Pac and Snoop Dogg. And but yeah, I would say for the general consensus, it'd be hip hop, and then you might get Edge's theme song in there. You're probably gonna get Edge's theme song in there. Sorry, you're probably gonna get Batista's theme song in there. You may get Evolution's theme song in there. Of course, John Cena's theme. So wrestling themes, they get me pumped up too. So those are some of the things that I like to listen to while I'm working out. When I'm doing cardio, I like to listen to some podcasts. There's one with Matt Barnes and Steven Jackson. It's called All the Smoke. I like listening to their podcast. There's another one with Darius Miles and Quentin Richardson called The Knuckleheads. I like to listen to that one too. And sometimes I listen to clips from JR's podcast, but in the wrestling podcast here and there. Hurricane Helms' podcast, I like listening to that as well.
Bald Monkeys.
Bald
podcast.
Monkeys, of course. I just got put on that, so I've been getting hip to that now. So yeah, man, just I like with cardio, it's helped. I can kind of focus more on podcasts. I feel like things like that. But like when I'm working out, like when I'm pumping iron, it's kind of hard for me to like listen to like just talking. Like I need some I need some some oomph in it. So
yeah. Most of those podcasts are similar podcasts that I listen to when I'm actually making the drive to Action Wrestling down in Tyrone, Georgia.
Yeah.
So it makes the 3-hour drive a little bit easier, but it's all worth it in the end.
Oh yeah.
And I feel like everybody's got to have wrestling themes. If they're a wrestling fan, you always have to have a couple of wrestling themes on like your go-to like pump you up playlist. Always.
And
Rocky. You always need Rocky.
Yeah, going the distance, I can put that on and just let's go. Yeah, my top 5 wrestling themes to listen to would be Battalion by the Edge's theme. I Walk Alone. I like listening to that one. Slow Chemical, Kane's theme.
Kane.
That's
Finger
a good
11.
one. Of course, Stone Cold's theme. Like I just walk through the gym just with that in your head and just the Brood's theme song.
Yeah,
it's pretty good. And then since Action Wrestling is from Georgia, I like to put in there AJ Styles' TNA theme. His second one, not the first one, but the second one at the beginning where it's like, "Get ready to fly." That one.
Mm-hmm.
That one gets me pretty pumped too. And then of course, I named my dog Jumbo after Jumbo Saruta. His theme song is actually pretty funky, and it gets me hyped up too when I'm like in there working out because I'm just thinking of him just larried people and giving people backdrop drivers and drop kicking people in the face. So yeah, those are the ones I rock with the most.
Do you have a guilty pleasure that people might not think the ACEGAWD's into? Whether it be music, artist, song?
So, ACEGAWD does like Justin Timberlake. He's a big Justin Timberlake fan. All right, just game recognized game. JT's got it. Also, ACEGAWD, he's not gonna lie. One of his favorite songs is by Demi Lovato. Sorry, Not Sorry, because it's a slapper. Because she's letting y'all know she's living her life, yo. She's sorry, but she's not sorry. Just let her do her, So I would say that. And, I mean, that's pretty much it,
Not too bad. Not too bad.
NSYNC, because Justin Timberlake, so, I'll be bumping that NSYNC, man. Bye, bye, bye. It's going to be me, gone. Yeah, hey, ACEGAWD, if you looked at his Spotify, you'd be like, oh, he's very eclectic. So
that's good. It's you have that culture to you.
Right? Yes, just a little bit of everything.
So you mentioned having to stop at a Sheetz, and you mentioned trying to get some mac and cheese, and not making the mistake of not getting the mac and cheese or any type of mac and cheese element.
Mm-hmm.
What's the ACEGAWD's meal of choice when on the road?
Let's see. Meal of choice while I'm on the road. It would probably have to be Taco Bell.
Okay. And the order at Taco Bell is?
Oh, you can't ask them that, man. They change their menu so much, it sucks now.
Yeah, it'd probably have to be Taco Bell. Because it's quick, you go in there. But if I'm up north, I'll stop at a Wawa and go get me something from Wawa. But yeah, as far as fast food on the way home, it'd be Taco Bell.
Okay.
That'd be the safe bet. Get a Crunchwrap Supreme.
There you go.
They still got that.
Yeah.
Sub chicken.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. Chicken Supreme, soft taco. We good to go.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's get back in the ring for a few questions. I want to know who's been your favorite opponent so far in your career?
My favorite opponents? Okay, so.
You can name multiple.
Okay, all right, so I will name multiple. Fred Yehi is one.
That's a good one.
And I'm basing this off of stories, not just one-off matches. Because if that was like I put Matt Sales on there, but if we're being honest, that was all built up for just one match, you know, and we built the story up around that one match, and then the match happened. I enjoy that match. I would love to wrestle Matt more.
Hell of a
if
match.
I did, then he might make it on this list. But, you know, wrestling Fred 3 times and just having those 3 grueling matches and doing, you know, telling the story with him. So I would say Fred. Also, I'd say Logan Easton LaRoe is a guy that I think he was down there in Alabama at New South. New South. He was down there at New South not too long ago. Logan Easton LaRoe, I have a couple matches with him. Just really easy to work with. And, you know, for me, it's just the crowd, man. Like the way that the crowd reacts to your match. If you ever have a chance to go back and watch me versus him from the show, it's called Nova Project 3. It's on IWTV. We're in the main event. But if you ever get a chance to go back and watch that match, just like the crowd vibes and they just help make that match even bigger than what it was, and that was another one. Also, I'm gonna start coming back home now. A lot of the guys that are my favorite opponents are, you know, pretty much I grew up with. Roy Wilkins, I mentioned earlier. Another buddy of mine, his name is Chet Sterling. He doesn't wrestle anymore, but he was also one of my favorite opponents. Rick Converse, who actually, the story I told you about when I first heard about CWF, he was the champion. He was like the man, and actually getting to wrestle him a few times was really pretty cool. But I say my favorite opponent, hands down, has got to be Trevor Lee, Cameron Grimes. Hands down, my favorite opponent. The dude just has it all, man. And like I said, I've known him since he was 14 years old, and for him to see him grow into what he is now, as a not only as a performer, but as a person, to see him grow is just a beautiful thing to see. But just like, you know, people always talk about our matches that we had, you know, when he became the guy. But I've been wrestling him since I first started training. Like one of my first matches that I got a lot of praise for was me and my partner Andrew Everett, who's also another one I put on that list. He's on that list as well, against Trevor and his partner at the time. And then the chemistry was just there, you know, and he's 14, 15 at the time, 2 years in, and I'm a year in. So really, you know, we're still kind of learning together. And for him to like start training with us, and then just like I said, he helped push me, I helped push him, and just the matches that we had, you know, just I wouldn't trade him for the world. And then another one, I'll name one more that helped mold the ACEGAWD into, you know, kind of helped start him off in that mold into what he's become now. As a guy, his name is Ray Kandrak. He was a guy that I had a feud with when I first started wrestling, especially out here in North Carolina. He was like the first like major feud that I had, and we were kind of like brought up together because we were like the same size, kind of the same styles type of deal. And he had this real menacing look, so he was just like the natural looking badass heel, and I was just at the time this super white meat baby face, and we just kind of it was just kind of like fate. And but I would say like him helping mold me into like being like, you know, helping me get started to help form who the ACEGAWD is now, and then everybody else kind of, you know, plug themselves on in after that. But as far as like my opponents, those are probably the safest, the people I would say that are my favorites because, like I said, like the stories that we've told together and just the chemistry that we ended up building with each other and going out there. Like I can go out there with any one of those guys now and not have to worry about anything. We just go out there and tear it up and people would go home happy. So
I love that answer. I love that answer because you didn't name guys for one moment. You named guys because of what built up to probably moments.
Right.
The idea that you were building, and we love the word story. We love talking about story because it's a lost art.
Yes.
I feel like in some of the wrestling areas, it's a lost art. But I feel like there's a rebirth going on right now. We're seeing a lot more of it, and I think it's important for people to focus on. It's not always just about one big spot or one big moment in the ring. It's what gets you there, what leads you to that moment.
You're absolutely right. And that's that's always been my philosophy personally is like I want to tell you a story. Like I want to go out there in my match and tell you a story to whereas the point is, we may not go out there and do all the crazy flips and do all the crazy moves, but I want to get you emotionally involved enough to where you're like, you know what? I really like that match, and I want to see what's gonna like. There's something that you didn't get out of the match yet, but you want to see it in the next match. And so it's like you don't want to. It's like playing poker, or you don't want to you don't want to play your best. You put all your cards out there right away. You kind of you want to be able to put good stuff out there, but you don't want to show your hand right away because if you show your hand, then it's like, okay, this is what this person does. Now you go to every show and you're doing that same thing. After a certain amount of time, it's going to get redundant. If you don't add anything to your arsenal, or you just add, and not even adding anything to your wrestling arsenal, just adding anything to your character, adding anything to just finding a little thing that'll help change your character up, just to help it evolve. That's always the thing that I'm striving for. Because I got moves out the yin yang. I can do a whole bunch of moves, but if I do this one move and it gets no reaction, then why am I doing the move? Because I think it's cool. Because obviously the crowd didn't care. You know what I mean? So it's a trial and error. You got to find those moments to be like, okay, I like this move, but maybe I shouldn't use it here. Maybe I should use it at this point, or so that's always the one thing about being a performer, because a lot of times people will come back to the back and they'll be all hype and excited and meanwhile people are like, yo man, did you see what they did out there? That was terrible. Why did they do that? It doesn't make no sense, and then they'll come back to the back and then those people the people that come back to the back and don't say anything, they just feel like, hey, my match was killer. I did all this cool stuff. But if you're not asking for advice or asking for critiques, then sometimes you feel like you already know what you're doing. Then we don't need to tell you nothing. Mm-hmm. But if you come back to the back and you hear the crowd, they may be biting off your stuff, and then you come back to back and somebody's like, good job, and you're like, appreciate it. What did you think? Is there anything I can work on? Anything I need to improve? And then they're like, if they're like, no, I mean, not really. And then or they're like, yeah, you could have done this better or that better. And a lot of times too, as a performer, when you're out there, like, I could have done that better. And then you go back on camera and you see it, like, yeah, I definitely could have done that better, So it's also being true to yourself as well. And a lot of times, a lot of guys in this business aren't true to themselves. And we have to be true to ourselves, because then you're only going to cheat yourself, and then you're cheating the people out there that are paying the money to come to the shows when, they do come,
Mm-hmm.
So.
Well said.
Mm-hmm.
Well said. Chuck, you got any favorites before we move on?
Let's see. I got one that I thought of earlier what's your favorite movie that you could watch over and over again?
Oh, Avengers: Infinity War.
Nice.
Thanos, like the Ace God, if you, he takes some of Thanos' characteristics, and because he kind of likes how he kind of functions in that movie. But Avengers: Infinity War is definitely one of them.
Nice. Is there a TV show? You come home, you sit on your couch. What's a TV show that you can just pop on and just watch a marathon for hours?
Oh, easy. The Office. The Office. All day long.
I'm
The
doing that
Office.
right now.
My girlfriend, she don't, I don't say she hates it, but at first she was like, no way. And then one day we're sitting there watching it, and Michael says this line where, he's talking about, I'm not superstitious. I'm a little stitious. And when he said that, we're sitting there like paying no mind, whatever. And when she heard that, she just started busting out laughing. And I was like, see, I told you, you need to watch The Office. Like, you missing out. So I'm trying to get her on for it. They take it off Netflix. I'm trying to get her on it so she can watch it and, and enjoy it as much as I do.
Nice.
You have to
I'm
jump
good.
on the. You're gonna have to jump on the Peacock when they move it over from
Yeah,
Netflix to Peacock.
We got the HBO Max now, so we're checking out
Ooh,
Fresh Prince.
Hey now, ACEGAWD. Woo, HBO Max.
Did you watch the Fresh Prince reunion?
Not yet.
Max.
Not
So
yet.
good. So good.
I've only heard good things. I have
So
not
good.
watched it yet, but because I'm not ready to cry tears to see the OG Aunt Viv on there. I know I'm going to cry some tears when I see her, man. Like, no disrespect to the other Aunt Viv, but the first Aunt Viv, that's my Aunt Viv.
Yes.
You know how they ask the HBK or Brett? They're like, the second Aunt Viv or first Aunt Viv? I'm definitely first. I'm on team Aunt Viv number one for sure.
Yep. I agree.
Yeah.
All right. One turn back the clock question before we get to the biggest question of the night. We've asked you this question before, but it's okay. We're going to ask you again. But before we get there, I'm going to turn back the clock, and you're going to be able to talk to the 10-year-old ACEGAWD. You're going to be able to give the 10-year-old ACEGAWD advice. What are you telling him?
I'm telling him, don't grow up. Don't grow up. It's a trap. And if you do, build a time machine and then skip right past 2020. Okay? Or build a time machine, move forward in time to see what's going on, and then go back in time to fix everything, and then you'll be rich, and then you won't have to do anything.
Oh,
There you
now
go.
we're scheming.
But don't grow up would be the main thing.
I like it. I like that answer. I love the time machine answer though. I like that because I mean it's like, come on, isn't that what you would do? Like, come on. And now you go.
I mean, you got to think about it. How did I get to talk to my 10-year-old self in the first place?
True.
You're in the time machine
True.
to get there. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is a Christopher Nolan movie in the works right here, y'all. Like this is the ground floor. This is a brainstorming session. Let's get Christopher Nolan in here. Go back in time, tell your 10-year-old self, don't grow up.
Now, are you team Back to the Future with the DeLorean, or team Bill and Ted with the phone booth?
Ooh, man. Okay. So I know everybody's team Back to the Future. Okay, like a lot of people are, but when ACEGAWD was growing up, when he was a child, he saw Bill and Ted more predominantly than Back to the Future. So there's nothing wrong. Like, I ain't no disrespect. I would love to drive that DeLorean, but I mean, come on, I get in the phone booth and I could just go to any time. I ain't gotta turn no car on or nothing, or press. Just go in there and do, and I'm Bill and Ted. I'm going off the grain. I'm going Bill and Ted.
As much as I love Back to the Future,
Yeah,
man, I am totally on Bill and Ted.
Wild Stallions
Totally.
for life, man. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh man, I love it. Well, we're here. We're at the final question. Now I know, and people at home, the millions watching
millions.
on Twitch and at home, if they saw Christopher's quick hits with you from one of the last action shows, they already know the answer to this question.
That's right.
But for the other million of people that are watching now that did not get to see that, but you can, if after you watch this, you can go over to our YouTube, do a little thing, / the Bald Monkeys, go watch it. But you're going to get your answer right now. And the question is, are you team double stuff or are you team single stuff Oreo cookies?
I, Arik Royal, am team double stuff. Okay? Now, the way to do it, though, is you take 2 double stuffs. You take the cookie off one side of one double stuff. You take the cookie off the other side of the other double stuff. You put those 2 together, and then you got the super double stuff. And I mean, come on, man. Like, that's heaven right there.
They tried to do that with the mega stuff, but it wasn't the same.
Nah, it's not the
Like
same.
everyone noticed that, right? Like it's okay to do that with double stuff.
Yeah,
but not
I don't
the
want to
mega
take
stuff.
my I don't want them to make my mega stuff for me. I want to make my own mega stuff because
That's right.
if you get the mega stuff Oreos, they'll probably try to skim you on some of that cream in the middle. You see what I'm saying? But if you get the original double stuff, you're gonna get, when you do your super double stuff cookie, you're gonna get all the cream that you want in there, and then it's gonna be better. It's gonna be better. So
Truer words have never been said.
Exactly. And just in case anybody's knowing, that's the right answer. So
yeah.
That's right.
that's the right answer.
That's right.
And then you take it, you dip it in some milk, take a couple of them, put them in like a little glass of milk, crush it up, and eat it like it's a cereal.
Mm-hmm. You got Oreo milk. This crazy guy over
I
here
know.
doesn't like his Oreos with milk.
I
don't
don't.
know what's going on with this guy.
I don't.
but-
I don't.
Hey,
I apologize.
each their own.
I apologize to anybody that eats their Oreos with milk, but I'm just not a big. First, I'm not a big fan of milk in the first place. Like I mean, now we're going back to little Chucky childhood. My mom and my dad used to make me drink the damn milk every night at dinner, and like every morning and I was just like, it got too much. Too much. I'll have it every once in a while, but
I'm an almond milk guy, so
ooh.
yeah, I don't really drink regular milk either.
We've actually completely cut milk out, and we use half and half for everything.
Oh, okay.
So like my daughter has cereal, she puts half and half. Yeah.
That's interesting.
She doesn't, and she's picky. She's very picky. And if she doesn't notice a difference and is like cool with it, I'm like, hallelujah.
Yeah.
I'm fine. Do whatever you want to do. I will buy you half and half every week.
I'll buy you all half and half you want. Just eat this food, please. Yes.
Well, ACEGAWD, thank you for joining us tonight. Thank you for revisiting the conversation with the Bald Monkeys.
Yes.
Where can everybody go find the ACEGAWD out there in social media world?
Christopher, Chuck, it's been a pleasure. And you can find the ACEGAWD on all, the main social media platforms. You can find them on Instagram at ace_royal11. You can find him on the Twitter machine at Big Arik Royal. And then you can find him on Facebook at Arik Royal on Facebook as well. So you can check out all those. I update the Instagram and the Twitter with content. So, the more followers and people that see the ACEGAWD stuff, the more stuff I'll put up there. But those are the main ones. I do have a YouTube page, Planet of the Ace YouTube page. I got a couple highlight videos up there and the promos. So there will be more added to that later on as well. I mean, you never know. After this gets posted, I may add this onto the Planet of the Ace page as well. So y'all will be official like a referee's whistle up in here, man. So
look at that.
Yeah, so you can find me there, and obviously you will see me next Friday, December 11th, at the Tyrone Action Sports Arena. And then after the night is over, they're going to name it to the Planet of the Ace Arena, because I will be the Action Heavyweight Champion of the world, and especially Tyrone, Georgia. And they won't be calling Matt Sales the favorite son. They won't be calling AC Mack the favorite son. They won't be calling Bobby Flacco the favorite son of Tyrone, Georgia. They're going to be calling the Ace God the favorite son. And then maybe, just maybe, when the Ace God does win the title, then when Matt Griffin runs for office again, he may actually win because he has somebody with the clout and the power and the presence of the Ace God to help him get to that next level.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Ace God. Check it out. Action Wrestling, December 11th, Tyrone, Georgia. I believe there's still tickets out there. If you can't catch it, keep an eye on IWTV. I'm sure it'll be out there. Use that promo code ACTION. Go check us out on the Bald Monkeys podcast that is on YouTube. Everything is The Bald Monkeys. You can find us on Twitter, YouTube, right here on Twitch. We're everywhere. We're easy to talk to, and we are happy to bring you all this independent wrestling and support those that need our support. Ace God, thank you for your time. Everybody else out there, have a good night. We will see you next week with 2 more guests on the Bald Monkeys podcast.
Yay, yay!
Find the Ace God, Arik Royal, on Twitter at Big Arik Royal. On Instagram, Ace_Royal11, Facebook at Big Ace Royal, and check out his YouTube channel. Search for Big Ace 51. Visit iwtv.live today to watch these great Action wrestling events, plus numerous other archive shows from Action and other great independent promotions. Use code ACTION for a free 5-day trial. Don't miss out. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at The Bald Monkeys. Watch us live on our new Twitch channel, twitch.tv/TheBaldMonkeys.